Don't even think about starting a car cleaning business unless you watch this entire video all the way through, because I'm going to be sharing some of the biggest factors that have happened over the last couple of years, which will have a severe impact on your business if you're starting out in 2023. So let's look at some of the main reasons that you might want to start a car cleaning business. Number one, you get to be your own boss. You have the freedom and you can pick and choose whatever hours, and you can pick your own clients as well, which means if you don't like your boss, your client, you can walk away and you can put it down as a learning curve. You don't have to go into work day in, day out going, oh, I hate these people that I work for. You have that freedom, and that's something not everybody can say on a daily basis. But there are some major drawbacks that you cannot ignore. For example, you don't get any holiday pay. If you're off ill, you don't get any sick pay. And if the weather is bad for most of you, you're not going to be earning any money either. So whenever you do your yearly forecast where you're trying to work out what money you're going to make over the next 12 months, ideally you should really be putting it down for 11 months, because we all want to work 5 days a week minimum. But when you've got shocking weather and you have other problems like that to deal with, you could have a whole week of ice and snow where clients would just say, I don't want to get my car done. You are going to lose a lot more money. I don't know any detailers apart from the unit-based detailers who can actually hit those 5 days a week solid, but you just cannot predict that everything's going to run smoothly. There are so many bumps along the way. And I don't want to just big this up and say, oh, it's easy, anybody can do it, you should do it, and then you're going to like this video. I'd rather be honest with you. So if we go back to some of the reasons why you would want to start a car cleaning business, I think it's very evident that you have to have a passion for cars. If you don't care anything about cars, this probably isn't a business for you. You have to have something inside that makes you want to get out of bed, especially on those cold days, and work on these fantastic cars. And don't just presume that from day one you're going to be picking up Ferraris and Lamborghinis. You've got to work your way up the ladder. You've got to gain that experience. Okay, so if we rewind the clock back just a couple of years and we go back to the times where we're in the pandemic, we had the lockdown, there was a lot of people starting out their car cleaning businesses, but now we're seeing that trend die off. People going back to their normal jobs that they were probably quite happy and comfortable in, and there's a lot of people who have started car cleaning back then who are now thinking, boy, what was I thinking? That's really hard going. And they've just knocked it on the head. You'll see on Facebook at the minute in particular, there's a lot of businesses closing down, and there's a hell of a lot of people out there who are selling their vans that have all been kitted out. So they've obviously spent a lot of money to get it off the ground when they needed to. But now when the reality sets in, they're now starting to see how tough it really is. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with that. This business is not for everybody. As I said before, if you don't have the passion, it's very difficult. People didn't necessarily have the passion during the lockdown. They just had to bring in some money, and car cleaning is certainly good for that. And I'll be honest with you, my passion for the cars has died off quite a bit, but that's only because I've got used to it. And we're now coming up to year 16 that I've been doing this business. So when I see a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, whatever, it's just a normal car, it's just a Vauxhall Corsa to me. But I get a lot of people messaging me saying, I got my first Lamborghini, I'm incredibly worried, what if I do something wrong? Stop looking at cars like that. Treat every car exactly the same. As long as you do your best and you give it your 100% attention, you'll be fine. The last thing you want to do is sit there in front of a client, you're trying to clean the wheel and you're shaking because you're worried about scratching the paint. Trust me, you're not. Just treat it like a normal car. Get in that mindset and don't go doubting yourself. You've got to have a lot of confidence doing this. The last thing any customer is going to want to see is a nervous wreck working on their car. They're going to lose faith in you, and they're definitely not going to recommend you either. So who would benefit from starting a car cleaning business in the first place? Well, to put it bluntly, the younger generation. If you're 18 years old going up to around 30 years old, you're going to be in your prime, you're going to be able to start this business, and you're going to be able to have a 10-year plan in place at least for you to go from point A to point B where you can bring in staff. Mobile detailing is very difficult. You're going to be driving around quite a lot. You're going to be getting your kit in and out of the van all the time, for most of you anyway. And you're going to be doing a lot of exercise. For the older generation, and I will put myself in the middle here and say this, I'm 37 years old. I'm struggling when I'm out in the cold. I'm getting cold fingers. They're really hurting. I'm getting pains in my legs. And when you're going down, you're sort of bending down to clean the wheels as well, you get a lot of pain in your hips. That could just be me. I just may not be fit enough now. I'm definitely not as fit as I used to be. But it doesn't mean that even if you're in your 50s or 60s, you can't start a car cleaning business. I just don't think you're going to be able to take it on full time and go 100 miles per hour and work 6 or 7 days a week and be that consistent, because it does take its toll on your body. I'll give you another example. My dad, he's now 62, sorry dad, but he's been working with me since day one, on and off. He just sort of comes and goes as and when. Now, I'm not saying that anyone who's that age hasn't got that energy, but I'm seeing him struggle more and more, and there's a lot of things where he just says, Dave, I can't do that anymore. I can't do this. I can't do that. If you really do not feel physically fit or mentally fit enough to do this, this may not be the business for you. But age is just a number anyway. As long as you feel that you can do it inside and you've got the confidence to do it, by all means, go ahead. But please just don't kill yourself in the process. Another group of people who may be able to benefit from having a car cleaning business are patio cleaners, window cleaners and gardeners. Why? Because they already have a client base. A client base, in fact, who like to pay regularly to get their garden done, their windows done. They have this schedule programmed in. How many window cleaners do you know who go to someone's house every single month? Or gardeners, they go every other week. They're going to the types of clients who can afford their services, and if they can afford that, they could pretty much afford to get their car cleaned. It follows along the same lines. So it means that if you were a gardener, you've got your own van, all you need is another pressure washer and you need a couple of tools, which we will get into in a bit. But it just shows you that you can really utilise yourself, especially during these winter months, and vice versa. If you're a car cleaner, it's really bad weather, you could call a client and say, look, I've got no work, I've got no cars, can I clean your patio? We'll do you a discount just to bring that money in. You have to constantly work. You can't really switch off, especially in January and February, because they are the toughest months you'll face. We have to talk about the elephant in the room, and that is the energy prices. This is where everything gets really serious, because if we were to go back a couple of years, there's many people out there who would probably say £100 a day or £150 a day is going to be enough for most car cleaners. If you're like me and you've got a family, I've got 3 kids and a wife, we've got animals, we live on this farm, it's pretty hectic. And to be honest, things like 200 quid a day just don't even come close to what you should be doing. It's that serious. The amount of outgoings that you have. I don't have a mortgage either, I just rent my place. It is very difficult to consistently bring in so much money. You have your van. The fuel is the worst thing. I think that's probably the worst thing you're going to face. You've got insurance policies. You've got your liability cover. You then have to cover all your chemicals. And you need to cover your own time as well. And then you've got all your other bills on top for maintaining your family. It's definitely a single man's game. If you're living on your own, this is amazing business for you, because you can just go, you can work all hours you like. But I think unless you're going to bring somebody on board to help you make the money, you are going to struggle if you're a one-man band. Not to say this is impossible, but you will still find it very difficult nevertheless. This is a really interesting topic, because so many people go, I want to start a car cleaning business. What's the first thing I'm going to get? Everyone says the same thing. You got to get a van. Seriously, you do not need a van at this stage. If you're just dipping your toe in and you're trying to find out whether you're going to like it or not, no way on earth do I recommend that you go out and spend a fortune financing a van or anything like that. I don't even believe that you need a water tank or a generator. And I have never ever used a generator in my van. Never. Granted, we've used a water tank, but I would say for a good 95% of customers, they already have their own water supply. And I get a lot of people message me saying, oh, how do you break it to the customer that you don't have water? It's very simple. You're trying to reduce the environmental impact. Now imagine this, if you've got a van which is filled up with water, you've got your water tank, that's going to be draining a lot more on fuel, a lot more money. It's going to be less eco-friendly. So if you say to a client it's going to cost you a little bit less because we're using your water, go ahead. But then if you say to the client, look, if we did have our own water tank, it's going to cost you 20 quid extra, blah, blah, blah. They're going to go, oh no, okay, go ahead, use the water. I'm a massive believer in this. I think pressure washers are now using, I think, up to 60% less water than a garden hose. Believe it or not, you're not even using a lot of water. Everybody just freaks out because they see a pressure washer just chucking gallons of water. It doesn't. It's actually saving water. It's not a bad thing. And that goes for electrical supply as well. They're not really that draining on your energy. It's going to cost you at worst maybe 2 quid to clean the car. At worst. And I just think if clients are being picky about water and electric, then they're probably not the right clients for you. And I know that there's going to be people saying, okay, look, what if we clean a block of flats? I can't do the car. So what? You win some, you lose some. If that's the only reason that you want to get a water tank because you're thinking once a month you're going to be at someone's block of flats, forget it. So if it's just one client you've got every single month that you're carrying all that extra weight with a generator and a water tank, and it's only really making you 50 quid a month, 600 quid a year, it is not worth it, because I'd rather put that time into finding the clients that are going to make my life better. And whenever you turn up to those blocks of flats, everybody's got their own car park space, or they've got visitor bay, and then you can't get in, and then you're blocking someone else in. And if those of you who have done this before, where you're a mobile valeter and you turn up at these flats, there's always some nosy neighbour who comes out and they're like, oh, you can't do that there. You don't want them. You just want to be on a private estate, a private house where you've got no grief. You can get on with the job. You don't want to be doing it in the road. It's got to be on their driveway as well. And you've got no dramas. But sometimes you just have to drop some jobs. So over the last couple of months, I've been testing this idea. So I got rid of my water tank. I even got rid of the van racking. And now I have a brand new system in place, which I will be revealing in a later video, as I'm currently filming it right now. And I think it's going to be a massive game changer for you, because there's a lot of you out there who think you need to carry everything on board. I have the perfect solution. I think it's definitely going to benefit you, so make sure you hit the subscribe button and stay tuned for that video. So where can I get work? Well, doing flyers is a thing of the past. I don't think you should be wasting your time, money or effort doing flyers. For what it's worth, you need to be on social media. Facebook is a fantastic place to get yourself brand new clients, as well as Instagram. And I always get the same people say the same things all the time. Oh, you got to have a website. You don't. Think about it this way. A Facebook page can be accessed by anybody, even if they do not have a Facebook account. They can see your business page. You can sell products, services, you can put pictures up, you can get reviews. Everything you would put on a website is already on Facebook right now. You can also use Facebook as an SEO tool, which is search engine optimization. You can really tag the heck out of those pages and you can drive in a lot of traffic. For example, let's just say you're a car cleaning business in London. We're going to be using a lot of keywords, a lot of key phrases within our images as well, proving that we're in London, in that area. Facebook will be #1 of Google for pretty much most searches these days. Instagram is just amazing, because what you can do is show off some of your personality. You've got video content you can do now. As long as you don't make yourself look like a complete idiot, you can really make this work for you. You can become a somebody. You're not just a car cleaner, you're an actual human being. You can show off some of your personal life. Whereas on a website, people just go to it, they see prices, there's not really any emotional connection that you're going to have with someone just instantly clicking their website. Yes, websites are very important, but they are not the be all and end all. And once again, if you don't have a website and you rely solely on Facebook and Instagram, then you will be saving yourself a good £10 to £12 a month, because you don't have to host a website, you don't have to buy the domain name. But let's not forget Google Maps being the #1 key to my own success. When I had a business listing on Maps, everything blew up. We targeted certain areas, we did Google ads, everything started to flourish when we did that. So don't ignore Google Business as well. That's probably the #1 thing before you even do Facebook. But it's nice to know that you've got all these platforms out there. If you're somebody who hasn't got a lot of money, just save your money. Just go for this method. See how far you can get. And also with Instagram, it's very easy to tag your location. If you want to pop up in somebody else's feed, let's just say you're in a little town in England, like where I am near Gatwick, all you have to do is just start tagging Gatwick, or start following local businesses in the area. Go on Instagram. Okay, there's 10 different businesses within my town. Why don't I just go and follow them? Why don't I send them a DM offering them a discount because I'm starting up? What if they've got friends they can refer me on to? There is plenty of work, and there is a hell of a lot of money out there that you can go and get instantly if you really want it that bad. So you have a grasp of the basics. So let's dive into the products and take a look at everything you're going to need. So to make your life easier, what I've done is I've put an entire list here of everything you're going to need for the exterior, and I'll give you a few seconds just to pause the video. And now here's everything you're going to need for the interior, but bear in mind these are just the basics. So the aim of the game here in this video is to get you off the ground. You're not going to be able to offer every single type of service, but at least you're going to be able to make some money nevertheless. And please understand, this is purely aimed at those beginners out there who want to start off car cleaning or valeting if you're in the UK. And for detailers who want to take it to the next level where it goes more in depth, I'm more than happy to make a video or a series on that in the next couple of weeks. So please let me know in the comments if you want to see that happen. Now you can save even more money with trade accounts, but you will need to prove that you're an established business. So not every single company will be as understanding. But my first port of call would be going with somebody like Infinity Wax. They have a huge range of products which will pretty much suit everybody down to each type of budget. And speaking of Infinity Wax, if you'd like to try any of their products, you can claim an extra 10% discount when you use the code EPIC at the checkout. And don't forget about trade insurance. At the moment, I'm currently using CoverSure for my public liability, and you do need to speak to them directly as prices will vary based on your own personal circumstances. So please don't ask me how much I pay, because what I'm paying is going to be very different to what you might be paying, depending on how many vehicles you've got, how much staff you've got, and other types of various factors. So you do need to consider everything before you jump in with a trade insurance policy. And these are just some of the basics that are going to get you off the ground. Other than that, it's down to you. It's down to you to get out there and try and find as much work as possible. But don't doubt yourself for 1 second. Don't care about what people think. If you're driving around in a Vauxhall Corsa or a Ford Fiesta and you're not in a van, don't just presume that people aren't going to take you seriously. Your work is what's going to matter the most. If you do a terrible job, it doesn't matter whether you've got a flashy transporter van which costs you 25 grand. If you're rubbish at car cleaning, no one's going to use you again. That van is just an image thing. You can still get a nice top with your own brand on if that's what you really want. But I will say, starting a business right now in January and February is the toughest time of the year. If you can get through it and you can ride it out to March when things pick up, a lot of people like to get new cars for the spring. Believe it or not, there is a lot of money still going in the UK right now. I did see a little slump, and that was in October, and that was with some of my richer clients. I think this whole energy crisis, this scaremongering from the news, definitely played a massive part. When you're surrounded by it every single day on your phone, you just look at it, and even I'm doing the same thing. I'm going, do I really need that? Do I really need Netflix or Amazon Prime? And you just sort of cut things off. And for them, for the richer people of the world, that's another luxury, car cleaning. They're just thinking, do you know what? We can live without it for a month. So we did see a little dip. It definitely picked up for December. January is sort of plodding along, but then we're getting those horrible days where we're getting a solid week of rain or ice. It's not looking good at the minute. But I truly believe that things will be picking up very soon. I really do believe that everything's going to be going back to normal. We're going to be back out working again, and we're all going to be earning lots of money, and we're all going to live happily ever after. I've got to keep telling myself that, because that's the only thing keeping me going. I know some of you watching this are going to go, oh, it's easy for you to say, you've had it easy. No way. I started on a pedal bike, had my trailer. We were out there in the freezing cold weather, just pedaling around with my little watering can. I've been there and done that. I really suffered. But I got through it, and I think you will too. And if we were to look back, say, 15 years when I started, to now at this point where I didn't realise I'd be getting the cars for Top Gear, doing quite a bit with them. I did the James Bond cars, which was unbelievable. I was the only person allowed to touch these cars in the country. I was like, wow, that is incredible. To getting on 3 TV shows last year. Oh my God, it just doesn't stop. And then I've got my own car care brand. And then I've been making money through YouTube and Amazon and all these other platforms as a passive income on the side. So don't let anybody tell you that you can't do it, because I think things are starting to look pretty good. But I had to do all the other crap first before I got to this stage. And oh my God, if I look back at it now, if I looked back to when I first started and someone said, you'll be in this position, I'd be like, no way. No way could I ever have imagined it. So it's really not that bad. I just think if you can ride it out and you've got the confidence and you have that passion, you will make it very far.